Film RRR. I'm going to read you a quick PSA. Free radio time. KSU broadcasts public service announcements for every hour for free. If you're part of a nonprofit, a government agency, or a local organization that wants to get their message out, email traffic@ksu.org with information on your service or upcoming event, and we'll consider making an announcement for your organization. So that's free radio time. And now we are going to move on to something a little bit different. I want to give you my short sort of reflection on the year here. Because here's the thing, I have a sixth sense when it comes to movies that are sad. And this was a great year for sad movies. Especially it was a great year for loneliness to be put on film. So I would consider this, like I said before, the year of the lonely creative. And my is my thing about it is that it absolutely, the year of the lonely absolutely effed me up. It messed me up so bad, but in a good way, in a brilliant, sort of way. You have filmmakers, veteran filmmakers especially, reflect on their lives and their past, remind us, sort of reach out to us, and touch me personally that they were alone too. They weren't, I mean, Steven Spielberg wasn't always Steven Spielberg. And James Gray, he decided to get brutally honest about his past and where he came from, and it was about class and race and privilege and all that stuff, and he went into it, man, and it gets ugly, but it was like it's just absolutely necessary. This isn't like white guilt for him. This was just him, you know, thinking about something. And when you're an artist, you gotta scratch that itch. I don't know James Gray personally, but I know him well enough as a filmmaker to know it wasn't a white guilt thing. And if it came across that way to some people, then well, they have the right to feel that way. But I know this was about sincerity for him, and him looking on and going, yeah, he wanted to be an artist at a young age. Was he supported by his family? No, but this is about him, just coming to terms with the real world and its ugliness and its brutality. And even as a kid, just really just looking at the gaps, realizing things that he didn't realize back then. Blind spots. Everyone's got their own. And that film was about that Armageddon time, set in the 80s. And it's weird because it's set in the 80s, Reagan era, but you could compare it to growing up or just living through the Trump era. So I thought that was one example. The Fablemans, you had Steven Spielberg, like I said, telling you I wasn't only Steven Spielberg, I was just a kid going through some stuff, and sort of having a revelation in a terrible way. The film is, it's tender, it's brilliant. It's the last collaboration between Spielberg and John Williams, although it is not officially John Williams's last score for a film, but still, it's a touching, beautiful moment for the two, I think. Longtime collaborators. And yeah, it was just the year of the lonely creative. I mean, the Banshees of Inisherin, not based on a true story, I don't think. A beautiful original movie, but Martin McDonagh, he wrote a brilliant breakup story between two men who are friends, just purely friends. And it's about, feeling like an odd man out on your own island, feeling lonely, even if you don't want to admit it. It's about depression, or maybe it's just about strife. But it's a brilliant film, and I loved it. So yeah, The Year of the Lonely. I gotta say, it really was that. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's two characters. There's Padriak, and yeah, or at least I hope I'm saying that right, Padriak, and Colm, Irish names, of course.